Aloha and welcome to the Fall 2020 edition of UHMTV, a TV news magazine show written, hosted, and produced by journalism students at UH Manoa. I'm Elizabeth Ufi.
And I'm Liam Thropp. Thanks for joining us from our brand new College of Social Sciences digital studios. Coming up in this episode,
we'll look at some of the challenges facing students while learning and working from home.
Why a recent Manoa brush fire is sparking new findings from UH researchers.
And how this urban tarot garden struggles to survive during COVID.
Plus, a special talk story session with a UH alum and COVID survivor who lives to tell his story.
Stay with us for this special edition of UHMTV.
While most UH Manoa classes have moved online this semester, about 5% have been held in person. Students must show their UH ID, follow strict safety guidelines, and check in on a new mobile app before being cleared to step foot on campus.
The free mobile app is called LumiSite and can be downloaded on any smartphone or web browser. It's a simple check-in procedure that helps students monitor their daily health status and report any COVID-19 symptoms. UH officials say this technology is critical for contact tracing strategies. Anyone testing positive for the coronavirus must quarantine immediately and will not be allowed back to campus until cleared by an approved medical service provider.
Since the pandemic began, Hawaii's unemployment rate ranks among the highest in the nation, with some UH students reporting job loss or severely reduced work hours.
But as Sophia Compton reports, some learning labs on campus have found creative ways to keep student employees on the job.
Student employees have faced new obstacles when it comes to working during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Learning Assistance Center at the University of Hawaii at Manoa specializes in tutoring. They have gone fully remote but have continued to provide work opportunities for students.
We haven't not hired anybody because of this. So in terms of the hiring, we haven't really changed any practices at all. We didn't want you to lose any opportunities to work.
One student has made a whole new workspace in her home to accommodate for going remote.
I think that having the tutoring just remotely online has taught me to be more resourceful. I can actually go show you my workplace. So this is my whiteboard. So whenever I'm tutoring, I just set this down here. And then I'd be like, okay, so this is transcription, this is translation.
Student Joey Sickles finds it harder to tutor over Zoom.
It's hard to tell if they don't understand or if they're taking notes or anything like that. And it's also a lot less involved, so it's kind of harder to get the message across.
With so many facilities closed, some students have also lost their jobs. Student Lizzie Peterson lost her job at the Office of Admissions.
Our supervisors promised that we were going to have some sort of work to do because we still had to get paid, and a lot of us were, just needing money. There's over a month of us just being unemployed and not hearing back from our supervisors, which was really hard because I didn't know if I should try to get another job or keep waiting and see if I would get my job back.
Students in need of employment can find more information at the Manoa Career Center or the Student Employment website at the link below. For UHMTV, I'm Sophia Compton.
Sophia, is there any other word when students' employees may be able to return to work on campus?
Not at this time. However, UH officials expect work-from-home procedures will most likely continue through the entire spring 2021 semester.
Living in campus housing has also been a challenge for students struggling to stay safe while balancing a college social life.
But stringent dorm rules prohibit all outside visitors and any large gatherings. As Aloha Lau reports, some residents are upset they're not getting the campus experience they hoped for.
Freshman Kyla Ray Paglinawan was looking forward to living in the dorms at UH Manoa at the start of her college career. but it didn't turn out the way she imagined.
I was expecting like everybody's doors to be open. We get to know who we're floor mates with and stuff like that. Couldn't really make friends like as quick as I wanted to because everybody just closed their doors. They just don't want to get sick.
Student housing has revised its dorming program and only allows single occupancy to a room. Student housing has also enforced a strict no-guest policy, which isolates the students from interacting with their peers.
Like you can go out, make friends, but once you come in, the only people you can talk to like face-to-face is either your RAs in the building or your floor mates.
Student housing wasn't able to comment. I did have the opportunity to briefly speak to a resident assistant who requested to be anonymous. They explain the revisions made for in-person student activity programming.
Like last year we could have like big programs, a lot of people can come, show up for food, we'll do like an art program, we're all in like one big area just doing an activity. But now we have to be very cognizant of what we do, and so we have to follow these certain guidelines and make sure that we're following the COVID protocols.
Now that Hawaii is transitioning and the state is slowly opening back up, there will be more engaging activities for dorming students to participate in soon.
Now we are slowly transitioning to in-person programs, and we all have like a set guideline on how to do that. So luckily as the state's opening up, we're gonna open up as well.
For UHMTV, I'm Aloha Lau.
Recent studies show college students across the country are reporting severe spikes in anxiety, depression, and feelings of isolation.
Pandemic stress is especially impacting students who already suffer from pre-existing mental health issues. But as Charissa Porter tells us, UH has a professional team of counselors standing by to offer emergency support.
UH student counselors have noticed an uptick of students reporting stress over their living conditions. They've also reported feeling disconnected from their social networks and growing concerns about financial strain. Mental health problems can affect a student's energy level, concentration, dependability, and optimism, hindering performance. According to a survey conducted by the Healthy Minds Network and the American College Health Association, depression among college students has risen 5.2%. Since the pandemic, there has been an 8.6% increase of college students reporting that their mental health has impaired their academics. Free professional help and urgent sessions are available. UH students can meet via Zoom or telephone through the Counseling and Student Development Center. The CSDC is also launching a new service called Drop-in Support Spaces, where students can virtually connect with peers during scheduled times.
These drop-in support spaces are going to be focused on different groups and different topics. So we're going to have some, for instance, focused on international students, on our LGBTQ plus students and allies, for athletes, for students living on campus this year. So we're going to try and offer spaces that kind of gather students from different areas at the university.
A veteran student and mother of two shares her experiences of how support groups can benefit mental health.
Maybe I might not be experiencing the exact same thing as the person next to me, but I can hear the struggle in their voice, and I can relate to that because I know what that feels like, to feel lonely, to feel like I have to do everything by myself, and to have the weight of the world on my shoulders and to not have a break.
The CSDC office has private spaces available for students who may not have internet access or face other obstacles that prevent them from meeting with a counselor privately. If you have any questions, please visit their website for the latest workshops and drop-in support group schedules. Registration is short, simple, and the only way to receive the Zoom link. For UHMTV, I'm Charissa Porter.
If you or a student you know are experiencing mental health problems or just need someone to talk to, please visit the Counseling and Student Development Center website at the link below.
When we return, Manoa brush fires heat up new research for UH biologists.
And why social distancing is hurting local businesses in Kaimuki. Stay with us for UHMTV.
Hawaii is home to one of the best universities in the world, the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Consistently ranked in the top 5% among national and international universities, affordable with resident tuition more than $4,000 below the national average, 200 plus degree programs to choose from, Get a world-class education and experience. The University of Hawaii at Manoa.
Welcome back to UHMTV. UH researchers believe a dangerous wildfire that threatened our campus in September is bringing new light to their studies. Scientists say that the latest findings could actually help prevent future fires, both in Manoa and across the state. A raging brush fire at Va'ahila Ridge in September still raises burning questions among UH researchers. UH biologists believe that the ridge above Manoa Stream is rich with additional research opportunities. Findings from the Biology 265 lab class suggest that frequent fires are good for the ecosystem.
If you don't have them, or you're suppressing fires, then you have a buildup of a lot of fuel material, and that can lead to these devastating large forest fires that we see.
The biology department and lab plan to continue collecting data from the ridge, as fire can be an important ecological factor. Though while fires may benefit science, they can also reveal the dangers involved for the local community. FEMA is funding a UH Manoa project to develop a fire risk map for the whole state. Researchers will be comparing past wildfires with surrounding environmental factors to determine the fire risk for local communities.
You can kind of look at these climatologies with respect to fire and not only say, oh, it's going to be high risk tomorrow, when like today was high risk, but now we got a big rain event, so risk is going to go down, you don't have to worry, but we can actually look across the state and say, where are these conditions the most frequent?
Climate change, poor land management, and human activity have fueled devastating wildfires across the mainland. This has allowed fires to burn more often and much bigger, especially in Hawaii. As humans are largely responsible for starting fires in Hawaii, experts say this issue can be resolved by you and your community. To learn more about how to be more fire safe, visit hawaiiwildfire.org. For UHMTV, I'm Liam Thropp.
Meanwhile, local eateries in Manoa's neighboring Kaimuki district are fighting to keep their doors open during this pandemic.
As Sammy Sexton reports, business has dropped dramatically since the campus shut down in March.
Kaimuki restaurants and shops are struggling due to slow business. According to the University of Hawaii Economics Research Organization, the revenue for small business has dropped 60% or more on average since April. At least 8 of these have closed. Town Restaurant, Gecko Books and Comics, and Pillbox Pharmacy are only a few to be named.
I think with COVID, because people are staying home now and probably during quarantine, a lot of places have kind of died down, especially Kaimuki. There's not a lot of energy as there used to be. I don't know, the culture definitely was kind of shifted, that kind of upbeat feel.
I think that people that have come in complimented us on, oh, your tables are great, your dividers are great, you're doing this really safely. But still, I would say 20% of the people came back.
It's really sad to not be able to go to these coffee shops. I want to study there, but I can't really because of COVID, so it's kind of sad. And also meeting friends, I'm doing a lot less meeting with friends and going to coffee shops with friends a lot less, so it's I can't really meet a friend at a restaurant. And there's also a lot of restaurants that I've been wanting to try but haven't tried just because of COVID.
The shared slogan, Keepin' Kaimuki, feels a lot more like Killin' Kaimuki.
Sammy, what can residents do to support these local restaurants?
They can either dine in or take out orders while in the area, and even check out the latest deals and discounts at kaimukihawaii.com. For UHMTV, I'm Sammy Sexton.
When we come back, we'll talk story with a COVID survivor who happens to be a proud UH alum.
Don't go away.
Welcome back to UHMTV. Every semester, we like to feature a notable UH alum who has made a difference in our community.
Reporter Cassie Ordonio recently sat down with a COVID survivor whose latest mission is to stop the spread of the disease.
I'm here with the COVID survivor who happens to be a UH alum and current graduate student. Please welcome to the CSS Digital Studios, Lorenzo Fino Cruz. Lorenzo, thank you for being with us here today. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Thank you so much for having me.
Early September, you tested positive for COVID-19. Can you please tell the audience what that experience was like for you?
I just finished moving into my new apartment, and I had a small group over 9 people, which I consider small. and we were all just hanging out in the house to celebrate. And what happened is the next day, one of the friends that were there texted us and actually put everybody in a group text and said he just tested positive for COVID. And so me and my roommate, we ended up getting tested the next day, and my results came back negative. But only like 2-3 days after that, I started feeling symptoms, and I didn't think anything of it because I tested negative. So, I was like, oh, it's probably just a cold or something, but it ended up getting worse. I couldn't move, body pains, fever, and then I called Kaiser, and then I tested positive the second time.
What lessons have you learned now that you're a COVID survivor?
I feel like it's really important to stay safe, and more importantly than thinking about yourself, thinking about how it's going to affect others. And when I was sick, I was literally just in my room for a whole week trying to, just thinking to myself. And I felt bad for my grandma at home who was worried about me, calling me every day, the people who had to take care of me, and, my family who kept messaging me. And I felt bad about how much I made them worry.
Pacific Islanders make up 4% of the population, yet they make up 30% of COVID-related contractions and 16% of COVID-related deaths. How does that make you feel?
It hurts, right? And, I've definitely heard that before. And I do have to admit that our culture is really a part of who we are, and really community is a big part of who we are. But at the same time, it's what's also harming us, right? So knowing that that is happening, it's really, you're kind of torn between, either choosing safety or your own communal identity. But I think, there's a way that we're able to do it and be safe at the same time, right? It's okay for now, cutting back or even doing things virtually, right? Challenging the narrative of what is space, like being close to each other, person to person, versus doing that over, electronics, which we have access to now. Another thing that's not brought up as much is that I see a lot of my people on the front lines, right? And a lot of times Pacific Islanders are blamed, like, you guys are always together, or you're not social distancing, not practicing these things. But when I go to supermarkets, or I go to essential businesses, or I go to security places, it's always Pacific Islanders that I see, right? It's always my people's faces over there. So we have to remember that it's not only because of us, but it's the institutions that put us there. And I think it's a responsibility of different places, of stores, of businesses, to also take care of their workers and the people who are working at these front lines.
What's your advice for UH students who are graduating in the pandemic?
My biggest piece of advice would be look for jobs or internships that you can do for social distancing. Even though there is talk about a vaccine coming out sometime soon, the time it takes to distribute that vaccine to large communities will still be a while, right? So really looking for ways that you can social distance, work at the same time, that will be really important to the community during the next few years.
Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
And thanks for joining us on UHMTV.
When we come back, check out a new mobile map that's giving nature lovers a chance to be their own personal tour guides.
And find out how this urban garden is coping with COVID-19, one taro root at a time. Welcome back to UHMTV. UH Manoa is home to a world-famous arboretum featuring thousands of native plants and trees.
Now, a new online map is helping students navigate their way around campus while getting a botany lesson along the way. Kaliyah Natividad has more.
UH Manoa's campus is a world-famous botanical garden. It's also an accredited arboretum with more than 4,000 trees, and they're all searchable on the university's newly updated online map.
So we're excited to be included in the what we call the One Map that showcases nearly every amenity available on campus, including the plants. We love our plants on campus.
In 1914, Dr. Joseph Rock, also known as the father of Hawaiian botany, planted many of the trees you still see on campus today. Visitors can see and learn about the fruits of his labor by simply logging on to the college website.
So we followed our map that led us to one of our 7 exceptional trees we commonly call Banuyo. This tree, according to the records, was brought by Joseph Rock himself on a plane on his lap from Southeast Asia, and he planted it on campus. He planted it right here. So it remains where it was originally planted before 1920.
Here's another exceptional tree on campus known as the baobab. And by selecting it on the campus map, I was able to learn that its nickname is the tree of life and its fuzzy fruits are a superfood. Campus trees also provide a nesting place for the manu'oku, the official bird of Honolulu.
As the hui manu'oku comes through campus and everywhere else that they monitor the manu'oku, they put a blue ribbon to indicate that there is a nesting turd in that tree, active.
There's also a handy QR code that you can scan, and it'll take you to their website for more information about the manu'oku nesting areas.
For more information, visit the website at map.hawaii.edu/Manoa. For UHMTV, I'm Kaliyah Natividad.
Thank you, Kaliyah. Another hidden treasure of Manoa's campus lies in a taro patch known as Kapapalo'i o Kanevai. For years, it was a community tradition to gather and harvest on the weekends. But now, with COVID shutdowns, no visitors are allowed.
As small as this place is, there are probably over like 100, maybe 120 jobs you could do over here.
Scott Ka'eo is one of 7 workers, or limahana, here at Kapapalo'i o Kanevai, a taro garden that at one point had many more helping hands to go around.
And a fine example of many hands, Launima, is when we have our first Saturdays.
Kanevai is an educational center open not only to the university, but to people from all over the world.
400 to maybe 600 people always come. So you see, like, us, the co-workers, we'd be running groups of hundreds of people. We see it just flooded.
People learn hands-on experience at Kanevai, but due to COVID-19 restrictions, they were forced to close themselves from the public.
We would like to, fix the hale. We would like to fix the rock wall, but we can't because we got to take care of the lo'is. We got to weed that. We got to rake the leaves. Doing the minor stuff that the group does.
Aside from being a lo'i rooted in the middle of the city, there is much more to what makes Kanevai stand out.
We have that ability to take care of the Hawaiian varieties. And that's why you see so much variety here. Is lena.
That's at least 60 different types of kalo within 17 lo'i patches for Hiapo, the director of Kanevai, to keep track of.
In this past 6 months, we've been able to, we've given away over 5,000 huli to people because people are realizing that, oh no, the pandemic, how am I going to feed my family?
And we keep the huli.
Just as people struggle with social distancing, so do plants.
That's the thing about taro. It's very much like people. Yeah, it needs the fellowship. It needs the touches.
Kapapalo'i o Kanevai now allows volunteers to come on first Saturdays. If you would like to volunteer, please follow their steps on their website. For UHMTV, I'm Elizabeth Ufi.
Thanks, Elizabeth. And thank you for joining us for this 21st edition of UHMTV.
For more information on any of our stories, check out the Manoa Journalism website or visit our YouTube channel.
Until next time, I'm Liam Thropp.
And I'm Elizabeth Ufi. Mahalo for watching and aloha.
Aloha.